Hi, I'm Corey Walmsley, and today I wanted to talk to you about how you can use track changes in your work. So a lot of times when you are working with an editor, they'll be using track changes. You can do it yourself too if you're, exchanging a paper with somebody. But if you're working with your editor and they've used track changes in Word, Microsoft Word, then you'll need to know how you can use it on your end because it looks a little different from when you send it to them. So I'm going to pull up a document here on the screen and give you some examples of what you can do, how you can get through it, and send them back a clean copy. All right, so here is a document. We're going to pretend that this is a book called Your Amazing Book. I don't recommend the title, but we're going with it. So this is a little something I wrote up called Your Amazing Book. And you can see it's only one page, and it looks like the editor made a lot of changes. And over here on the right side, you can see these comments. Now, if you open your email from your editor or your Dropbox or however it is that you guys are exchanging your stuff, and your document looks like this, you might say, oh, they didn't make any changes. I'm awesome. You are awesome, but they did make changes and you need to know how to do that. So go to the top of the page. And if you aren't already in the review pane, you can see it right here, the review pane. Over here in the middle, you can see a drop down. Right now it says final. So this is as if you had already accepted the changes, and this is the final version with all of the changes that the editor made intact. So I'm going to change that over to final show markup. When you do that, that shows you all the changes that the editor made and all the comments over here in the right margin. So the next thing you do is you want to go down through and either accept or deny the changes. I'm going to go with this first one here. So it looks like the editor decided to change this to a font that's 16 point and centered it. I'm fine with that. So I'm going to come up here to the top and click on this check mark that says accept. For the next one here, oops, I left the W out of the word however. Clearly, I'm going to accept that too. That was a spelling error. I'm going to come back up here and click accept. Now, you don't have to do this one at a time. You can highlight a section and then accept them all. So if I come down here and see, oh, they put quotation marks around authors because that belongs there. Here in this sentence here, they made a change, say, cutting out I think, starting the sentence with it's. And down here, they changed the word dumping to pouring. I'm fine with all those changes. So I'm going to highlight this whole section. Oh, also another change down here, time consuming hyphenated. So I'm going to highlight this whole section, come up here to the check mark and click accept. Some other things that happen here, it realizes that what you're doing is going down through checking everything that the editor did. So you can see that it automatically jumped me over to this first comment. Whenever your editor is making comments, they can highlight a word. So here they highlighted the word authors, and they went up here to new comment, clicked on that, and they typed up what they wanted to say. Here it says, what are people called who write long or short books? Because when I was writing this, I said, sometimes people write no books at all. Those people are called authors. So the editor is making a suggestion that maybe we should explain the first part of this paragraph. What do we call these people? If I decide that I don't know how I'm going to answer that, I might do the same thing here. So I'm going to double click on authors, and I could say, those people are called superheroes, because clearly that's what somebody who writes a book is called, a superhero. So I might say that, but I don't know how to put it into this paragraph. Could you help me put that in here somewhere? So I just made a note back to the editor. Now you can't see it on here because I'm acting as editor and author, but if my editor had sent me these notes, they would show up, each of their comments in red, and then my comments would show up probably in blue. And it would also have my initials instead of theirs. So in this case, you can see all the comments say CW, it's Corey Walmsley. But if I were working with another editor, let's say Samantha Fraser, let's say that that's who I was working with, and her initials would be SF. So that would appear there. So all of Samantha's comments would be SF, and mine would be back to her in CW. So it makes it very easy to see who's doing what on what document. So here I let the editor know I didn't know how to fix that. Maybe they can help me out. Now, if I want to go to the next thing in here, it's this next comment. 99% of people worldwide don't write books. So the comment that my editor said was cite this statistic. I got this one. I know how to do that. So I might put here at the back end of that, I'm going to say it came from Jameson, and then put the year. Let's say it was a 1999 book. Okay, so maybe that's how I'm doing the references table. You may also choose to do it as footnotes or reference notes. That's not what we're talking about in this book or in this video. So here I just inserted that, and I've already got that covered. And you can see that when the editor gets this back, they'll be able to see exactly what's going on here. So bring it back up here. Hit the wrong button. So you can see that when the editor gets it back, they'll be able to see that I inserted something. And because I took care of this comment, we don't need the comment there anymore. So if your editor wants you to remove comments that you've addressed, this is how you do it. You come over here where it says cite this statistic, you right click on it and delete comment. Okay, simple as that. So I would be going through the whole rest of the document and saying, all right, here, clearly this was a mistake. Looking at the rest of this paragraph, yeah, there are some other errors there. I like all the changes they made. I can click accept, and here it jumped to the next thing. Now, if you wanted to do this, you can go to accept and move to next. And instead of it jumping to the next comment, it would go from this change. Show you. Oh, okay, it does go to the comment. Okay, so it would go from here right to the next thing. So it'll do that jump for you. Now, if I get all the way to the end and I've reviewed everything and I didn't want to accept stuff as I went, the other way to do this is to come up here to accept and click on accept all changes in document. I'm not going to do that yet because I do want to show you how to reject a change. So let's say you come here and you really think it's important that, I mean, dude, stays in your book. If that's how you talk, you really feel like that's something that really belongs in there, then you might want to reject the change. So let's come up here and we'll click on reject. And then if you're rejecting a change like this, you may want to give your editor a comment, like I say, dude, a lot, and it's important to my audience. So you might want to do that. That way they know why you rejected that, because sometimes as an editor, we'll get something back and say, I think I fixed that. Pretty sure I removed that. I'm going to remove it again just to make sure. Because the way my company handles things, we go through all the books twice and make sure that everything is clean. So when you publish it, it's clean. If we go through it once, send it back to you, and you just go, oh no, that was fine, and reject it, and then you send it back to us, we might think we just missed it and changed it again. So that leads to just a lot of confusion. So if it's something like that, you may want to mark it. If it's something where it's clearly that the editor didn't understand what you were talking about, instead of just saying, oh no, this is fine, step back and say, the editor caught something that was confusing. I need to change the wording on this to make sure that it's not confusing to my audience. Change it up using track changes and then send it back to the editor. So what happens if you get your document back and it does not have track changes on? So let's say you start typing something, you wanted to add something to the end of this paragraph, and it doesn't show up in red. Let me show you. So up here in the middle, you're going to see this cheesy orange box, it says track changes. If you get it back and it's not lit up, that means that track changes is not on. So any changes that you make to the document are not going to show up in red, and your editor won't know that you've made a change. If you want them to know, which typically if you're going through a document with an editor, then it's nice to at least let them know that you've made a change. Come up here to where it says track changes and click on it. Make sure it's lit up orange and then give it a little test. Yep, shows up red. We are good. So this is how, and I'm going to actually just accept all the changes so you can see what that looks like. This is how you do it. This is how you use track changes in a document. And you know that should be enough to get you through just some very basic back and forth with your editor, so you can make sure that everything is clear, and when you send the document back to them, it's clean and they know that you've read the whole thing through and you do like what they've done to it. So I hope you enjoyed the video.